Days, months, and years preceding a marriage union are usually characterized with joy, excitement, and bliss. During those days, we form images and pictures, and we project those images and pictures onto our marriage. And we imagine that this is how a marriage will look. This is how our union will look like. There will be so much harmony, excitement, growth, healthy connections, healthy, exchanges, and all that stuff. But here comes a time. It is now 5 years after marriage. Something happens, and this man you loved, this man you're excited about, this woman you love, excited about, something happens and they change. They change suddenly. You see, and that's the time we get into a situation where we ask ourselves questions. What really happened to him? What will happen to her? At that particular time, in psychology, what has just happened is a right environment for childhood programming, for wrong programmings to manifest in imaginations, in feelings, in talks, and in actions. The basic unit in every marriage is an individual. In a toxic marriage, it's not different. It is individuals who, actively engage in emotional, mental, and spiritual and physical abuse. It's also individuals who passively enable that behavior to continue. See, so it's two programmings. One programming is aggressive, the other programming is passive, but it's two individuals who are now in a union called toxic marriage. In today's episode, Benjamin Zulu speaks about toxic marriage and why, as a mother, why, as a parent, children should be the reason why you leave the toxic marriage and not the vice versa. Because when you read on Facebook, many women say the reason why they stayed in the abusive marriage is because of children. But I think this presentation by Benjamin Zulu will get you into the right way of thinking about this. Welcome, and let's get started. My name is Martin, and this is Kenyans on Facebook podcast series. Today's focus is on toxic marriages. Here is what Benjamin Zulu said and the comments that were triggered by what he posted. Before you subject your children to a toxic marriage, remember that before age 10, children form a mental template of what love is based on what they are seeing from their parents. Later on, they'll find chemistry and connection with people who recreate their childhood experiences, who match the mental template. Children who are raised on love and care approach life and relationships differently from those raised on abuse and neglect. By staying in an abusive marriage, you're not being strong for the children. You're in fact planting a generational curse. Instead, children should be the first reason you leave abusive relationships because you don't want it to pass on to them. The first Kenyan on Facebook said, "How I love this piece of advice, and I wish everybody, especially those in toxic marriages, puts it into consideration. Once your kids experience everyday abusive scenarios, they learn something completely different from what really life should have approached or taught them. Be strong enough for your children and help them to grow in a peaceful environment." Now, according to me, the basic unit in a toxic marriage is an individual, is two individuals who cooperate, whether actively and passively, to run on an environment that is emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically abusive. My role here is to help you retrospect and introspect your activities, your action, your exchanges as an individual all through those years you've been in your marriage. And then you will arrive at this conclusion. How did you participate in the creating of an environment that encouraged emotional, mental, and spiritual abuse on you? And lastly, you'll be able to decide, do you want to stay in this marriage or you want to leave? By then, you'll have gotten the courage, the mental, emotional, and spiritual courage to walk out of that toxic marriage. Below is a link that leads you to a program called Inside Out Separation. Let's meet there and let me help you form this final decision to leave or to stay. Thank you very much. My name is Martin and see you tomorrow for another podcast.